Everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Dead Money Sports Gambling Parlor Live. I'm your host, Jesse Flynn. If you've watched any of my other shows, you know who I am. If you're new here, we talk about NFL football, and I'm here to discuss this week's divisional round of the NFL playoffs. Uh, wasn't a very good day for Dead Money Sports betting. Our three picks that we had for the game didn't end up working out all that great. Uh, Obviously, the first game we had the uh, Baltimore Ravens minus 2.5 in the first half. They've been one of the best first half teams all year. Hadn't lost back to back first halves against the spread all season. Of course, there's a first time for everything, and the way Baltimore played in this game, they didn't deserve to be in the Super Bowl anyway. They scored a total of 10 points. They scored that one touchdown on a broken play where Lamar escaped the sack to throw it to Zay Flowers. But they moved the ball. Obviously, if they didn't have the turnovers near the end zone, this could have been definitely been a different game. But that's how football is. The Kansas City Chiefs didn't score a single point in the second half, and yet Baltimore could only muster 3 points. And they never looked into it anyway. So this it really stinks losing this Baltimore bet. Um, Obviously, the you know when you have something that's been going good all season, it's hard to go away from it. And that first half, Baltimore Ravens ATS have been so good all year that you just got to go with it. And unfortunately, they just did not look. They didn't look in sync. They looked totally out of it. I don't know if it was the weather, and whether or not it was affecting Lamar Jackson's ability to, function in that game. But they just didn't look like a very well organized offense. The defense played fantastic. Like I said, they shut Kansas City out in the second half, and yet, their offense just couldn't get it done. So, obviously the narrative of Lamar Jackson being a great quarterback during the regular season, obviously, Dead Money Sports had him at 16 to 1 to win the MVP. That looks like a certainty, even though after today's games, Brock Purdy has definitely had some backers, on social media talking about how he should be the real MVP. But honestly, I still think Lamar Jackson's been the most valuable player to his team, and unfortunately, it's a team game, and there was mistakes made by other players. That fumble was really costly, but Lamar did not play well either. So plenty of blame to go around for the Ravens, but obviously this one didn't work out. And then the other bet that we had for the first game was the same game parlay with Lamar Jackson over 1.5 passing touchdowns and Patrick Mahomes longest rush over 10 yards. Now, uh, Patrick Mahomes' longest rush in the game was 11 yards, so that one cashed, but that was minus 325. So that was something I wasn't off, wanting anyone to bet as a straight up bet. That's why I combined it with Lamar. Unfortunately, he had that first touchdown pass to Zay Flowers early in the first quarter, and it looked like it was going to be a really good chance. But the fumble going into the end zone by Zay Flowers was the killer, because that would have been Lamar Jackson's second rushing touchdown of the game. But instead, we ended up with him, only having the one passing touchdown, and they kept going for it on fourth downs, not converting, and then they had some other turnovers near the end zone, and it was just not a good thing. And it was just it just wasn't a fun experience watching that game. I gotta admit, Baltimore never looked in it. The offense looked totally out of it, and I don't know what to say about Lamar Jackson. I mean, he's obviously a great quarterback, but uh, you know, you got to be able to get it done when it's crunch time. And unfortunately, the last couple of seasons when he's gotten into the playoffs, his first MVP season, they make it to the divisional round and they lost to the Tennessee Titans because they failed on fourth downs a bunch of times. And this is almost like the same exact situation where they're asking Lamar Jackson to make, and there was plays for him to make, but they're asking him to be like Houdini, and unfortunately, it doesn't always work that way, and this time it came back to bite him. So sadly, both of the bets that we had for the first game didn't come through. Bad day all the way around on game one, even though we were looking so good. I mean, obviously the Ravens. I don't know. Their Lamar Jackson's power ratings is definitely going to go down for playoffs next year if the Ravens make it again next year. But yeah. So that's my thoughts on game one. Game two, again. I mean, wow, what a first half, second half difference in this game. We had uh, the Detroit Lions with a 17-point lead at halftime. San Francisco gets a field goal. Detroit goes down with an opportunity to potentially kick another field goal. They go for it on fourth down. Whether it was the right call or not, people will be discussing that for the next couple of months, probably. But I didn't really have a problem with him going for it on that one. It was the second time when he went for it on fourth down 3 points. Because you need to get the game back to zero, get the score back to zero, and kick off and get the momentum back to your team, get your team back to level, and now put the pressure back on San Francisco. Unfortunately, they went for it, didn't get it. San Francisco goes down and scores, and I think everybody who's listening to this probably watched the game. Uh, you know, Detroit ends up losing, so the money line did not cash, sadly. Now, I mean, obviously, I gave out the money line, and I did bet the money line. I also had the plus 7.5. So I'm not gonna be completely exposed to them winning. I also bet the points, so I would always suggest, if you're whatever your unit size is, I would bet like 80% on the spread and some on the money line, the rest on the money line. But on this one, I put a nice chunk on the money line, but I had more on the spread. So thankfully they got that late touchdown to cut it to 3 points. But yeah, that's another thing. I'm wondering if people are going to talk about Dan Campbell not going for two when they scored the touchdown in the final minute. Because wouldn't you say you go for two there? That way, if you get the field goal, you can win the game? Or no? I guess you don't get a second chance to go for two if you kick a field goal as you would with a touchdown. So I don't know though. It just seemed like a strange situation. The running play that they had to use a timeout, that was probably what really sealed their fate though. With them having to waste that timeout, they were 100% reliant on recovering the onside kick, which only happens a couple of times a season. It's one of the rarest things to happen in football. So sadly, the money line did not come through, and it was looking so good. But I even tweeted it out about you may want to look at, if you had the 7.5, you may have wanted to look into putting some money on San Francisco live. The money line, it was plus money when they were really down. I put it out when they were when they were plus 115. It actually got to almost plus 260. I saw uh, going into the second half. But yeah, that was just I've seen it all season. The Lions have also been one of the best teams against the spread in the first half, and their defense obviously gave up a bunch of points in the second half. We saw them give up a bunch of leads all season long. This was nothing new, but unfortunately, the fourth down conversion variance came back to bite them, came back to bite us. We didn't get the money line cover. So, unfortunately, it was a bad 0-3 day. I mean, we swung for the fences with the money line. Obviously, if you're betting the money line, I hope you're also betting some money on the spread. And then the parlay was a brutal one because when I saw Zay Flowers going into the end zone, I thought, boom. Mahomes got that 11-yard rush in the first quarter. So we had a touchdown and the rush in the first quarter, and then 3 quarters of the game, Lamar Jackson doesn't throw another pass or doesn't pass for another touchdown. So that one was tough. The first half, that one when they punted, when they got the ball first and they punted 3-and-out, I knew I was in trouble immediately. I said, "Oh boy." They scripted those plays. They practiced that particular 15 or so plays all week. They came out and went 3-and-out and did not look in sync on any of those plays. I mean, Lamar on second down has to scramble, runs around the edge, and slips and falls and gains a yard. So, yeah, I knew I was in trouble on that one. The parlay was a really tough break just because of the way the fumble went. And then, the money line losing a 17-point lead, still having an opportunity to win the game when they forced them to kick a field goal when they needed a touchdown to win it or a field goal to tie it, and instead they don't get the fourth down conversion. But, those are the breaks. If you've been with me, obviously I post my plays during the season on Twitter and Instagram. You can follow me at Dead Money Media or Dead Money Sports on either one of those platforms. But I've had my picks all week or all year. I just haven't been posting videos this season because I was in transition with a bunch of stuff going on. But I decided to do a live show for Dead Money Sports. So each week during the football season and leading up to the season and throughout the season, we're going to have live streams. There'll be notifications of when the stream is going to be coming in. And obviously during the season, we're going to do live stream before the games, and then we're going to do another one after the games. So hopefully we'll have better luck than we did this week. But, that's how the cookie crumbles. Sometimes you hit all your bets, and sometimes you don't hit any. And like I said, we swung for the fences on this one with the going with the money line with Detroit. Didn't hit. And obviously the parlay was just a brutal bad beat with the fumble. But we'll keep plugging away. We'll keep trying to get those winners. I'll keep sharing them with everyone on Dead Money Sports on Twitter or X and on Instagram. So be sure to follow me on both of those platforms. And be sure to subscribe to Dead Money Sports here on YouTube and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when these videos drop and any other content that we decide to start posting throughout the NFL season. But I'm glad to be back, glad to be creating some content. I didn't really want to do it in this format, but it seems to be the new acceptable medium for sharing social content on these platforms. So I've decided to start doing my own live feed. So if you enjoy it, be sure to hit that subscription button. And to everybody out there, we've got a great matchup coming up for the Super Bowl. Obviously a rematch of a couple of years ago. And honestly, I believe San Francisco should have won that one had Kyle Shanahan just stuck to his game plan instead of deviating away from the run. So we'll have to see if he learned anything from the first experience and his first time in the Super Bowl, or will Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, the Kansas City Chiefs, continue their dynasty and put another Lombardi trophy in the showcase there in Arrowhead Stadium? So to everybody, I'll be posting a video and my picks for the Super Bowl. We've got a bye week. The Pro Bowl's coming up. Maybe have some props for the Pro Bowl, but it's one of those games where I don't get too crazy because you never know what the hell's going to happen with that stuff. It's so random. But to everybody, thanks for joining me. I hope you join me from this point forward. Like I said, hit that subscribe button. I hope everybody enjoyed the football, enjoyed the season. We've got one more game this year. It's going to be a great matchup. I'm looking forward to it. Let's make some money.